Today we're diving into one of the most powerful practices in Stoicism, journaling. I'm not talking about recording what you had for lunch or venting about your annoying coworker. Stoic journaling is a profound mental exercise that has helped countless individuals develop clarity, emotional resilience, and practical wisdom for over 2,000 years. When Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote what would later become Meditations, he wasn't creating a philosophical treatise for posterity. He was engaging in a private journaling practice to examine his thoughts, prepare for challenges, and hold himself accountable to his values. Similarly, Seneca's letters and essays demonstrate the power of written reflection to clarify thinking and strengthen resolve. In today's video, I'll show you exactly how to implement these ancient journaling techniques in your modern life. Whether you're facing personal challenges, seeking greater tranquility, or simply wanting to develop more discipline in your thinking, Stoic journaling provides a structured framework that produces real results. By the end of this video, you'll have practical techniques you can start using immediately to transform your mind through the written word. Let's begin our journey into this transformative practice that has withstood the test of time. Before diving into the practical techniques, it's important to understand why Stoics place such emphasis on written reflection. The Stoic philosophy centers on the idea that our judgments about events, not the events themselves, determine our happiness. As Epictetus famously stated, "It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about things." Journaling serves as a powerful tool to examine these judgments. When we write down our thoughts, we externalize them. This creates distance between ourselves and our thoughts, allowing us to analyze them more objectively. Think of it as creating a dialogue between your reactive self and your rational self. The Stoics recognize that our minds often work against us. We catastrophize future events, ruminate on past mistakes, and misinterpret others' actions. Through regular journaling practice, we can catch these cognitive distortions before they lead us astray. Moreover, the act of writing itself slows down our thinking. In our fast-paced digital world, our thoughts often race from one concern to another without resolution. Journaling forces us to articulate our thoughts precisely, which requires clarity and focus. This process alone can diffuse emotional reactivity. Another crucial aspect of the Stoic approach to journaling is its practical orientation. Unlike some philosophical traditions that emphasize abstract contemplation, Stoicism is fundamentally concerned with how we live. The journal serves as a workshop for crafting better judgments, decisions, and actions. Remember that for the Stoics, philosophy wasn't an intellectual hobby. It was a way of life. Their journaling practices weren't separate from their philosophy. They were the very embodiment of it. When you engage in Stoic journaling, you're not just writing about Stoic principles, you're actively practicing Stoicism itself. With this foundation in mind, let's explore specific journaling techniques from the Stoic tradition. The first Stoic journaling technique we'll explore is morning preparation, which includes the practice of premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of adversity. Marcus Aurelius began his days with reflective writing, setting intentions, and preparing his mind for whatever challenges might arise. Begin your morning journaling session by writing about potential difficulties you may face in the day ahead. This isn't negative thinking or pessimism, it's practical preparation. Ask yourself, what meetings might be challenging? What temptations might I face? What could go wrong with my plans? For each challenge, write a brief statement about how you intend to respond with virtue. For example, today I might encounter criticism during my presentation. If this happens, I will respond with patience and open-mindedness rather than defensiveness. This practice inoculates you against difficulties by removing the element of surprise. When you've mentally rehearsed challenges, you're less likely to be caught off guard and react impulsively. As Seneca advised, the unexpected strikes with greater force. Preparation softens the blow of adversity. Additionally, use your morning journaling to set intentions aligned with Stoic virtues. Write down specific ways you plan to demonstrate wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance throughout your day. These aren't vague aspirations, but concrete commitments. For example, rather than writing, "I will be patient today," specify, "When?" Speaking with my colleague about the project delay, I will practice patience by listening fully before responding and considering their perspective without judgment. This morning practice creates a mental blueprint for your day, allowing you to live more deliberately rather than reactively. The complementary practice to morning preparation is evening reflection, which Seneca described as a daily review or philosophical audit. He wrote about questioning himself each night. What ailment have you cured today? What failing have you resisted? Where can you show improvement? Begin your evening journal session by recounting the day's events objectively. Simply describe what happened without immediately judging whether events were good or bad. This practice helps develop the Stoic ability to see things as they are, not as we wish or fear them to be. Next, examine your responses to these events. Where did you demonstrate Stoic virtues? Where did you fall short? Be honest but not judgmental. The point isn't self-criticism but accurate self-knowledge. Remember, the Stoic sage doesn't expect perfection but continual progress. For events where you responded well, identify which virtues you embodied. For instance, when my proposal was rejected, I maintained equanimity and viewed it as an opportunity to improve rather than a personal failure. For situations where you fell short, analyze why without harsh self-judgment. What false judgments led to your reaction? What virtue was lacking? Most importantly, how might you respond differently next time? Finally, close with gratitude. Identify at least 3 things from your day that you appreciate. These can be positive events, moments of growth, or simply aspects of life you typically take for granted. This evening practice serves multiple purposes. First, it develops self-awareness by creating a feedback loop. Second, it builds accountability. Knowing you'll review your actions makes you more mindful throughout the day. Third, it ends your day with perspective, reminding you of what truly matters according to Stoic values. As Epictetus said, make it your practice not only to say it but to do it. The evening reflection ensures that Stoicism remains not just a theoretical interest, but a lived practice. Beyond morning preparation and evening reflection, the Stoics developed specific philosophical exercises that you can incorporate into your journaling practice to expand your perspective and deepen your understanding. One powerful technique is the view from above meditation. In your journal, describe your current situation or concern, then gradually expand your perspective outward, from your immediate surroundings to your city, country, the planet, and finally the cosmos. Describe how your concern appears from each perspective. For example, if you're anxious about a work deadline, write how this appears from the perspective of your life as a whole, from society's perspective, from the perspective of 1,000 years hence. This exercise helps shrink problems to their proper proportion and reminds us of our place in the greater whole. Another valuable practice is role model reflection. Identify a figure, historical or contemporary, who embodies Stoic virtues. In your journal, describe a situation you're facing, then explore how this role model might approach it. This creates a dialogue with wisdom beyond your own current understanding. You can also practice contemplating impermanence through journaling. Select something you value highly, a relationship, achievement, or possession. Write about its temporary nature, imagining a time when it will no longer be present in your life. This isn't to cultivate detachment, but rather to appreciate what you have more deeply while it's here. These philosophical exercises aren't meant to be performed mechanically. Approach them with genuine curiosity and openness. The goal isn't to arrive at predetermined conclusions, but to explore your own judgments and gradually align them more closely with Stoic wisdom. One of the most fundamental Stoic principles is the dichotomy of control, discerning between what is up to us and what is not. Epictetus begins his Enchiridion with this distinction. Some things are within our power while others are not. A powerful journaling technique involves systematically applying this principle to your concerns. Create a 2-column entry in your journal. In the left column, list aspects of a situation that are not up to you: circumstances, others' actions, outcomes. In the right column, list what is up to you: your judgments, intentions, and actions. For example, if you're preparing for a job interview, The left column might include the interviewer's mood, competing candidates, or whether you get the offer. The right column would include your preparation, how you present yourself, how you respond to questions, and your attitude toward the outcome. This exercise has transformative power because it immediately redirects your attention and energy from things you cannot control to things you can. As you practice this regularly, you'll notice your anxieties shifting from external outcomes to internal virtues. Take this practice deeper by exploring the judgments underlying your concerns. When something external troubles you, write about the value judgment that makes it troubling. What are you assuming is essential for your well-being? How might you revise this judgment? For instance, if you're anxious about public speaking, you might write, "I'm assuming that others' approval is necessary for my well-being. This judgment is worth revising because my worth doesn't depend on universal acclaim." The Dichotomy of Control journal helps you progressively internalize a core Stoic insight that virtue alone is sufficient for eudaimonia, flourishing. By regularly distinguishing between what is and isn't up to you, you train yourself to find security in the only things that can never be taken from you, your own virtuous choices. Contrary to popular misconception, Stoicism doesn't advocate suppressing emotions, but rather understanding them deeply and transforming them through reason. Your journal can be an invaluable tool for this process. When you experience a strong emotion, anger, fear, grief, desire, create a passions journal entry. Begin by describing the emotion physically. My heart is racing, my jaw is tight, my thoughts are accelerated. This creates initial distance from the emotion, allowing you to observe rather than be consumed by it. Next, identify the event that triggered the emotion and, crucially, the judgment behind it. For example, I feel angry because my colleague took credit for my work. The underlying judgment is that this action threatens my recognition and advancement. Now examine this judgment using Stoic principles. Is it aligned with virtue? Does it concern something within your control? Is it consistent with a cosmic perspective? Write out a more rational assessment of the situation. Finally, compose a response that embodies Stoic virtues. How might wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance guide your actions? This isn't about denying the initial emotion, but transforming it through understanding. Over time, this practice helps develop what the Stoics called apatheia. Not apathy, but freedom from destructive passions. You'll find yourself experiencing emotions without being controlled by them, able to respond to situations with reason and virtue even when emotionally charged. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The Passions Journal helps you exercise this power deliberately and effectively. The ultimate aim of Stoicism is to live according to nature, which the Stoics understood as living virtuously according to reason. Your journal can serve as a laboratory for clarifying your values and developing virtue. Begin by creating a values inventory. List the 4 cardinal Stoic virtues: wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance, and write your personal understanding of each. Then identify specific ways these virtues apply to your life roles as a professional, family member, citizen, and individual. Regularly revisit this inventory, refining your understanding of virtue through experience and reflection. This isn't a static document, but a living exploration of what excellence means in human life. Next, implement a virtue development practice in your journal. Each week, select one specific aspect of virtue to focus on. For example, patience as an expression of temperance or moral courage in speaking truth. Throughout the week, journal about opportunities to practice this virtue, challenges you encounter, and insights you gain. Additionally, use your journal to explore virtue conflicts, situations where different virtues seem to pull in opposite directions. For instance, when might honesty, a form of justice, conflict with kindness, another aspect of justice? Write dialogues between different perspectives, allowing yourself to explore the nuances of virtuous action. This practice helps transform Stoic ethics from abstract principles to lived reality. As you clarify your understanding of virtue and document your development, You create a personalized moral compass that guides your decisions with increasing precision. Remember Epictetus's words. First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. Your journal is where you define what you would be with clarity and commitment. We've explored powerful Stoic journaling techniques, from morning preparation and evening reflection to philosophical exercises and emotional processing. Now let's discuss how to implement these practices sustainably. Start small. Begin with just 5 minutes of journaling each morning or evening. Consistency matters more than duration. Keep your journal accessible and create environmental triggers for your practice, perhaps placing it on your pillow or next to your coffee maker. Remember that Stoic journaling isn't about perfect prose but honest reflection. Don't censor yourself or try to impress an imaginary reader. This journal is for your eyes only, a private space for philosophical development. Finally, approach your practice with patience. The Stoics understood that wisdom develops gradually through consistent application. Your journal documents this journey with all its setbacks and progress. As Seneca wrote, philosophy is not a performance but a way of life. Through regular journaling, you make Stoicism not just something you know about, but something you live. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.